All right. Hello. Today I'm speaking with Chris Naugle. Chris has dedicated his life to being America's #1 money mentor. His success includes managing over $30 million in assets in financial services and advisory industry, and tens of millions in real estate in the real estate business, with over 200 transactions and an HGTV pilot show since 2014. Chris, welcome to the Top Agent Podcast.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on the show.
The pleasure's all mine. So, you have quite the background and experience. You've been featured in many publications and shows. Have your own podcast. You've spoken and trained thousands of entrepreneurs. So, tell us a bit about yourself and your real estate background and what you're up to today.
So I was just a normal kid growing up, actually lower middle class family, and mom always just taught me if you want something, you got to just go after it. You got to dream big. So that's always what I did at a young age. If I wanted things, I just would visualize it. I would dream it up, and I would go out and do whatever it took to get it because mom didn't have the money, and that kind of carried on with me throughout my life. And early dreams were to be a pro snowboarder. So being from Buffalo, New York, you're just north of me. I mean, it's not easy tackling, becoming a pro snowboarder, living where we do in upstate New York here, but I ended up pulling that one off and then started my own first company in mom's basement at 16, went on to own those retail shops, which were snowboard shops up until 2010 when I sold them. And lots happened, man. Real estate kind of came about in the mid 2000s. 2006 was my first flip I did. And I did it because as a financial advisor, a lot of my clients that had money were in real estate. And I was just like, wow, all the guys that have the money are all in real estate. So I started connecting the dots and I said, okay, I got to try this real estate thing. So first flip in 06 and supposed to make 30 grand. We made 8 grand, but it was enough to hook me. Next one in 2007. And then 2008, I dove into a big strip mall development. My retail stores, I was moving them and I developed a old paint store into a 3-unit strip mall, but that was in 08. And you guys weren't quite as affected in 2008 as we were, but here in the States, man, it was like doomsday. And that great recession hit me like a Mack truck. I almost went bankrupt. I did end up keeping that plaza and finishing it, but a lot of things went south then. But in 2009 to 14, I was kind of getting back on my feet after 08, and I started buying real estate. I started doing it a lot. So from 9 to 14, I got up to 36 apartment units. And then in 2014, just the same bank I'd been working with, I took my 37th deal and they said no. They said, you don't fit in a little square box of debt to income ratio. So at that point, there's more to it. The bank actually called those mortgages and lines of credits. So I sold all those units, sold my dream house. Things got really rough. So I've been through this like crazy roller coaster up through 2014. I had a bunch of money in 08, and I lost it all. And I got it all back by 14, and then I lost it all again. And then from 14 till now, I did a lot of things, but me and my wife, one of the most notably is we got a dream to get a show on HGTV. And that's what we kind of set out to do. And that was 2018 is when we aired. It was called Risky Builders. It was a flipping show. And it was a lot of hard work that went into that. And it was an awesome goal that we accomplished. But since then, we've done 261 flips. We have a fairly large rental portfolio, which we're mostly selling off today. And it's funny because I know you're from Toronto, and when you were like reading off the stats and everything, tens of millions of dollars in real estate. That's like one deal in Toronto. That's like 260 deals.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I was just laughing about it. So people in Toronto might not be looking at, tens of millions. That's like one deal here in Toronto, but in Buffalo, that's like 260 some. And, I've set my whole goal out now is just to teach people how money really works. I sold my financial advisory practice, and today that's all I do is travel around, teach thousands of people the secrets of the wealthy and what they do with money.
That's amazing. So thanks so much for sharing all that. A lot of ups and downs, and it's about how you pick yourself back up, which seems like you've done that and then some. So congratulations on all your accomplishments.
Thanks. I think I just watched Rocky too many times. Not how many times you get hit, it's how many times you get back up.
That's it.
Like I was in that movie.
Yeah. So, the audience on my show are mostly real estate agents across Canada, across the US. So, many real estate agents get into the business for their own financial freedom and, of course, helping others achieve financial freedom through buying and selling real estate. So a loaded question to start this off, but I think this will help open up other topics. So how can realtors specifically achieve and help others achieve financial freedom and success?
Well, it's easy, and I deal with a lot of realtors. My wife is a realtor. And one of the biggest things, with realtors is, it's a great business. It really opens up tons of doors in terms of opportunities. But I think a lot of realtors also need to put themselves in the investor, seat and really look at it from two sides. Number one, you're helping retail buyers buy real estate. Number two, you should be looking for opportunities yourself in real estate. And I think that's one of the biggest opportunities I've seen with realtors is they have the opportunity to find those deals before anybody else does. And as a realtor, I mean, number one, you can find the deal and try to list it, but if they don't want to list it, then you could always take the deal down and buy it yourself, or do a variation of other things. But I think one problem with realtors is they're all self-employed. So being self-employed, you don't have all the benefit packages, you don't have the knowledge when it comes to money and all those things. They teach you well how to sell, but they don't teach you how to be a good steward of money or how to make your money work for you. So I think those are some big things I've seen. I know my wife has tons of friends in her office that are realtors, and they all do very well, especially right now. I mean, the market's hot, so it's very easy to make money. But I think when you're making the money, you almost need to find a place where that money is going to go to make you more money, so that your money starts working for you instead of you always chasing the commission and working for money. So, for realtors, I think that's a big thing that I see. And I work with tons of realtors and we have great relationships with them. But that's the biggest thing I've always seen is, a lot of the realtors I meet, they're great at making money. They make a lot of money, but a lot of times they just don't always know how to manage that money in the best way. So, I mean, we can go any different direction you want on that, but that's something that I've really found to be, a big hole in terms of, the realtors that I've worked with.
Okay, very good. Has your wife always been a realtor,
Mhm.
or
Yeah, for quite
yeah?
some time. I mean, she started doing it. Gosh, when did she start?
Was it
2007.
before you got into like the flipping and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah?
So, it was really kind of escalated by the flipping because as we started doing it, she'd get the commissions from buying them all, and she'd get the commissions from selling them all. So it was really a nice revenue stream for us.
Yeah, no,
Today, she only does our deals today. She,
yeah,
any other
I'd
deal,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, she just refers them off.
Perfect. So, scaling back a bit, does a realtor need to be an investor first before helping others invest?
No, I certainly don't think so. I think, the investor part really should be a second phase. I think if a realtor is helping other people, first and foremost, as a realtor, that's one of the beauties of the job is you get to go out and help people find their dream homes, help them find these investment properties, whatever, niche you're in, with real estate, you get to really help people. But I think as that kind of builds, there has to be a second phase because being a realtor is a transactional business. You can live and die by your transactions. And if things right now, it's easy to make a lot of money as a realtor, but what happens when the market constricts again? What happens when things tighten up and it's not as easy? Then we also have to then take the phase two and look, all right, well, what is going to happen then? And I think that's where realtors really need to always be focused on also being investors themselves and building up that rental portfolio or that real estate portfolio. So they do have money coming in, or as I like to call it, money while you sleep. But I don't think there's a right way. I don't think they have to start as an investor and become a realtor, or become a realtor and then be an investor. I think it's whatever direction they want based on their needs and goals.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense. But so for the realtors listening that, who want to help investors, because, obviously there are investors in every single market, whether you're in Toronto, Buffalo, or any city you could imagine. Um, but the realtors that aren't investors and who might be maybe intimidated by helping other investors, maybe seasoned investors, like how can they overcome that sort of maybe fear or intimidation with them not being an investor themselves?
That's a good question, and I guess I have to put myself back to when I was working with realtors and think about that because as an investor only, I'm not a realtor, so I can kind of speak on that. But as an investor, I'm always looking for a realtor that understands an investor's mindset. I'm always looking for a realtor that understands that part of what we're doing is making really low offers on properties to try to get them at the price, or creating, an opportunity for the seller of the property that might be outside the norm, not just the normal transaction where I want to buy your house. Here's the contract. Here's our offer. Here's our proof of funds, where it almost is, a creative financing deal, or we're not so much focused on price. We're focused on solving that seller's problem. Does the seller need to close next week? Does the seller need to stay in the house for an extra 6 months while they find their next house? I mean, that's where an investor can be really flexible. And that's what the realtor really can use, to their advantage, because they've got the relationship with the sellers. It's controlling that relationship is what I look for with a realtor. Somebody that isn't just black and white, a realtor that actually is willing to step outside that normal, I guess you would say, vertical of what a realtor does, and start really understanding the investor mindset and what we need. Because I'll tell you, the realtors that we've worked with, that my wife works with, have made hundreds of thousands of dollars working with us, because they've understood what we need and they understand how to handle it. It's very different, I will tell you that.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Um, Honing in on that a bit more. So are there any, like, just dealing with, probably hundreds of realtors in your case, and obviously your wife's a realtor, are there any characteristics or specific skill sets that will make a realtor be successful with helping investors?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of simple. I mean, the realtors that we've developed the biggest relationships are investors themselves. So they're already investing, whether we do joint venture deals with them. The other thing I think with the realtors that we've had tremendous success with are the ones that are patient. A lot of the realtors that I have started with and then stopped working with were the ones that were really just looking for that transactional quick sale. Like, they just want to get in and out, where I'm looking for a specific needle in the haystack. But if you can find me those those deals consistently and persistently, I will keep buying them over and over again. And not only buying them, I'll list them with you. So I think another way we've worked with realtors, this is a huge thing. I have some realtors that actually go out there and find for sale by owners, deals that are not listed on the MLS and won't probably ever be listed on the MLS because the person doesn't want to pay that commission. The realtor will build that relationship, open the door for us. And then I will have a deal with the realtor where I'll pay them their 3% for just getting me in contact if I close on that deal. And we have another realtor, actually it's a realtor group, that we list a lot of our properties because they have investor buyers. So a lot of the deals we get, maybe we're not doing the full renovation and the flip. So a lot of them will find the deals through our marketing efforts, and I just want to sell them off to other investors, or wholesale them, or as in some terms called wholetailing. So I have to have investors that have investor buyers. So that's another huge thing. So there's really two sides. The realtors that have the buyers, that are cash buyers looking for the deals that I find, that's one side. And then the realtors that have the patience and the willingness to go out and find those deals that maybe aren't that cookie cutter normal deal, but they're willing to kind of look for the for sale by owner signs. They're willing to go through and really build relationships with other realtors that have the properties that I'm looking for. Those are the things I want.
Yeah, I love that. I like how the focus here is on investors, which, it's a niche market, right? And I think in any business you're in, focusing on a niche is very beneficial. So something I speak to a lot of my clients about. So how important is picking a niche market in your business?
I think it's really important. Let me go back to kind of what you said, because I think there's a key thing that I want to get across, just being that investor. Now, right now, the market's really high. So it's hard for me to find deals. So I might not be the best thing for a realtor right now. Our business might not be the best thing, but when we're really going to start buying, when everything goes down, which makes perfect sense, right? So realtors right now, it's not hard to make money. If you find a deal, it's very easy to sell those deals. You can play in that retail space and really do very well right now. But what if, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know if it's going to dip, but let's just say it does. 2021, after the election, let's say the whole real estate market falls apart. I would be that one person that realtors really need to know, because I'm going to be the guy buying when everybody else is not buying. I'm going to be that person who will consistently keep buying and buying as the market gets worse and worse, when all those retail buyers start going away because they don't want to sell their house because the pricing's down. But I think that's important to understand is, you have to understand, as a realtor, you can't just look at the good times and say, this is what it's always going to be like. You almost have to say, okay, well, if this is what it's like now, this is how I make hay. But when things fall apart, I need to also have that business, those clients like me, the investors, that will support me when everything falls apart. So I think sometimes you got to look a little down the line, or actually go back in history and look at 2008, 9, 10. It was very difficult on realtors. I can't remember the statistics, but in the States, the number of realtors that actually left the realtor business was massive. It was a huge outflow, and now
Right.
it's a huge inflow. So it's almost like everybody just follows the rising tide, right? But you need to also understand that when the tide isn't rising and everything's going out and everything's falling apart, that's when you can probably make the most amount of money if you know the right investors to work with.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I apologize, that wasn't your question. I just wanted to make sure I hit that.
No, yeah, no, I love it. And it sort of segues on to sort of another question I have. So, relating it to your own business. So, let's talk about like the marketing to getting yourself in front of the right people in the right time, like you just mentioned. So,
Mhm.
what are some of your strategies for getting in front of the right people that can also be transferred over to realtors?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that we're really good at, and I think this is a big takeaway for realtors, is marketing. A lot of people say, oh, you guys are in the real estate business. I said, you know what we're really in? We're in the marketing business. Secondarily, we're in the real estate business, because without marketing, we can't get the deals. So how we find deals, some of my most successful ways is relationships. I've always been somebody that believes in relationships. So I've always built relationships with estate attorneys, probate, people in probate, estate brokers. So when somebody has an estate sale, I know those brokers, and those brokers are talking to the people that own the house or the family of the house. So if they want to sell it, guess whose name and card is being given to them? Mine. And guess what I am? An all cash, non-contingent buyer that will close as fast or as slow as you want. So that has been one thing where the attorneys, the estate brokers, who else have we worked with? The brokers that work directly with the banks on the foreclosure deals, we work very closely with them. We work with all the other investors, because investors, one thing that realtors may not know is investors are constantly buying and selling properties amongst themselves. I get a good deal, I might sell it to John over here who's looking for the deal that I have that I don't want. Then John might get a deal and brings it to me. Well, remember, at the end of the day, all of these deals are eventually going to make it on the MLS, because that's the place, that's where everything's going to go. So I think the relationship piece is big, but the other thing that we've done tremendously well with is direct mail marketing. It used to be the yellow letters. Now we actually do a 3-part mailing where we'll mail one out, which is, a professional letter. One will be a handwritten letter just saying, hey, we're still interested in your house. We're all cash. And then we'll send them a postcard last. We hit them 3 times. And if we get nothing on that, then what we do is we do ringless voicemails. Those annoying, your phone rings once and you're like, oh, that was weird. And then all of a sudden you got a voicemail. It's me. Hey, I'm looking to buy your house. The other thing too, folks, as realtors, I think this would work well, is don't ever discount furry little critters. Okay. And you may not understand what I mean, but I'm a cat guy. I love kitty cats. Call me weak for that. I don't care. I just like kitties. And a lot of our marketing that we've had tremendous success with had our little orange cat, who was this little fluffy ball, on the ads. People get that postcard, they get that letter. All of a sudden, it's not some real estate company. It's a little orange kitty cat saying, I want to buy your house. Give me a call. I'll make you an all cash offer. This is a little orange kitty cat saying that. Now, maybe you're a dog person, so find a really cute little puppy. Don't ever think that you're above furry little bunnies and kitty cats and dogs, because that's what people want. They want to feel good when they open something. And if it's just a picture of your face as a realtor, we've seen it all. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but a lot of the marketing I see in the traditional sense of realtors is, the realtor in the dressy clothes, professional photo shoot, hinging on the company they work for. Folks, those go in the garbage. So you wasted your money sending them out. Now that might work for some people, but for investors, it isn't working. But sending something that's more transparent, something that's more, it's got just more of an open feel, where it doesn't make you look like some, poster child realtor. It makes you look real. That's the stuff that investors want. And that's what a lot of homeowners want.
It's funny when you said like don't discount furry little critters. I was expecting some sort of metaphor to come in, but you actually mean that very literally.
Yeah, man. One of my most popular campaigns we did, and we created a website, we did a direct mail campaign, we did an email blast to a huge list, and we did it over almost a year, because we have software we've created that basically we can pull lists of people in any given area that we're looking to buy in, and it was literally that little kitty. So if I'm looking at a laptop, the cat was sitting on the laptop yawning. It's when he was a kitten. His name's Scouty. And all we did is we did this campaign. It just said, Scouty wants to make an all cash offer on your house. Do you, or do you know, or are you, or do you know anybody looking to sell their house? We will close fast. I swear to God, some people were just like commenting back that they just loved the card, but that's all I wanted because they'll never forget us. And, you know, then we had the luxury of having a TV show. So when we did the TV show, we did really funny photo shoots of like Blair, the one guy, like holding me, like it's just goofy stuff. But that's the stuff that got the reactions. When we did professional mailings, none of that stuff worked. It was just kind of like throwing money out the window. But when we did the furry little critters, that worked.
I love that. That's a great idea. Great idea. One thing you mentioned before as well. So just the importance of relationships, and obviously with realtors, you know, it's a very relationship driven business, obviously. So you mentioned a couple of things, but just to dial in on that a bit more, like what are some specific, like actionable ways to not only build new relationships, but to nurture existing relationships?
Let's start with building new, because that's what I was good at is, you know, walking into an attorney's office, an estate attorney or a divorce attorney. Think of where deals start, right? If someone's going through a divorce, if you're a realtor or an investor, you really want to know that divorce attorney so that they can say, hey, if you guys really need to sell the house, I know you guys aren't getting along, like I have somebody that will buy that house, or I have a realtor that will be able to find you a buyer very quick for that house. That's invaluable. The estate attorneys, invaluable as well. So those are the kind of people that you want to build relationships with. So you can't just walk into the attorney's office and just say, hey, I'm here, you know, XYZ realtor, or Chris, you know, the best investor out there. They're going to kick you out and you're never even going to talk to the attorney. So you know what I did? And I did this a long time ago and I haven't done it, you know, in a while, but I used to go into the attorney's office and I knew the gatekeeper was always going to be the assistant, the person at the front desk. So I started with bringing them, I usually would bring 2 or 3 Starbucks coffees in. And I would just say, hey, here's my, you know, I never gave a business card. I always gave a brochure. We called it a credibility builder. Here's my credibility builder. I thought maybe I needed some pick me up. I don't know if there's anyone else in the office that would like coffee, but I brought you some Starbucks, you know. And by the way, if you ever find any of your clients that really need to sell their house, I'm an all cash buyer. I'll close fast. I just wanted to stop by and introduce myself. And I leave. Then I come back about a week or 2 weeks later when I'm in that neighborhood, but I don't come back with coffee. I come back with donuts. Now we have this donut place called, Paula's Donuts. They're the best gourmet donuts. You guys have them all over up in Toronto. I'd bring in donuts and I'd bring a small box of donuts and I would say the exact same thing, but now my brochure was taped right to the top of the donuts. And I would introduce myself and I would say, hey, you know, I was just wondering how difficult would it be for me to get an appointment with Mr. or Mrs. Attorney to discuss, you know, how our business can work and help your clients. It was always about how can I solve your client's goals? And then if that didn't work, which it often didn't, the next time I came in, I brought 1 bottle of wine and it had a little bow tie and my business card on it. And that was for the realtor or for the attorney. And I'd say, is the attorney in? I'd really like to give them this bottle of wine. I've brought you coffee and donuts. I figured I had to bring he or she, you know, something. That worked. I had one attorney that I did that. I swear that's exactly how I did it. Mrs. George, #1 estate attorney. And ever since that time, when I brought her wine, maybe I got lucky and got her the wine she liked, or maybe she was blowing smoke up my butt, you know, about what she liked. But she sent me, I think, 5 deals that we actually closed on, but she sent way more than that we didn't close on. Those 5 deals paid us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next couple of years. And that was because of what I did there. And then the estate broker, all I did is I knew they were the #1 estate broker, stopped into one of the houses, got chit-chatting with them, just said, hey, how many times do you ever come across people that want to sell their house? Loaded question. Oh, every time, all the time. And I said, great. When they do that, you know, does anyone ever like pay you for doing that? No, we have a couple of realtors that we refer business to. I say, you know what? His name was George. I said, George, how about this? If you bring me those deals, I will pay cash for them. I'll buy them exactly how they sit. You can leave all the stuff that doesn't sell, just leave it in there. I'll take it how it is and I'll close fast, but then I'll put $500 in your pocket every single time you bring me a deal. That man single-handedly has outperformed every other referral source. Here's one we just closed on last week. We closed on the deal, got my crews cleaning it out, and I just sold it. Actually, I meet with them again today to sign contracts, and we made a $52,000 profit because of George. And how much did he get? Wow. $500, folks. How many of you want to trade 50 grand for $500? I think all of you do.
That's such a good idea. Like I've spoken to hundreds of realtors and, you know, about marketing and ways to build relationships. But, you know, the whole divorce attorney little segment there to go after that, I think that's genius.
I hope everybody, you know, gets one or two golden nuggets out of this. I know I'm not a realtor, but I'm on the other side of the fence. So I do different things than what they teach you to do as a realtor.
Yeah, and I love that. So, okay, you talked about building those relationships, and you provided some amazing, like, specific, actionable tips. What about existing relationships and nurturing? Like, what are some
Yeah.
things you do there?
Equally as important. So first you open the door and you build that relationship. But you know what? A lot of people do that and they just think that, you know, that thing is just going to keep giving. They'll forget about you. You got to stay present with them. So here's what we do. Every single time I speak to somebody, like if George calls me with a lead, which he just did last week, not that one I'm talking about, but another one, I send a thank you card. And the thank you card is nothing special. Buy the cheapest card you can find that says thank you on it, nothing on the inside, and just hand write a note. You know, I really appreciate the deal you sent. You know, we tried getting a hold of them, didn't work, but that's okay. I want you to know that each and every single referral means something to me. And this relationship, you know, has been incredibly valuable to us. Close it, send it. I also do a newsletter. Now, the newsletter that I do isn't your, you know, typical, I hate calling it a newsletter, but I don't know what else to call it. It's very personal. I put pictures of my daughter in there. I put pictures of, you know, things that I'm doing, whether I'm out, you know, in Lake Powell, wake surfing, stupid things, totally not related to real estate. People want to get to know you. If you're building a relationship, they want to get to know you, not because you're a realtor, not because you're a real estate investor. They want to get to know different parts of you. And if you do one or two things that show, you know, I used to be a pro snowboarder, so snowboarding, or the kitty cat thing, or my daughter, they feel a deeper connection. So I do that. That newsletter goes out every single month. We mail it out right now to almost 2,000 people. Thirdly, if somebody really starts giving you a lot of stuff, then you got to dig deeper into your pocket. So what we've got is a really nice box that we send out. Sometimes it's, you know, like custom made, you know, coolers. I don't have one, but like a, you know, a coffee mug or a money clip. I'm in the money business, or just a t-shirt that I go on Canva, or there's another one, spread tee or something. And we send a shirt. That's the third thing. So it costs you some money. It takes some time, but that will pad those relationships so they will never, ever start bringing or stop sending you stuff. I want you to think about that deal that I just did, the Pine Ledge deal. That's going to make us $50,000. I just closed on it a week ago. Just remind you that, right? Closed on it a week ago. And I'm hopefully inking the deal today, and it's a $50,000 profit. How many t-shirts, coffee mugs, money clips, newsletters, thank you cards can you mail for $50,000? I can tell you more than you ever can. But that's what I'm saying. Like, those are the things that set you apart from everybody else. But the reason nobody else does it is because it's work. And Teddy, I think it might have been Roosevelt or Edison, said, you know, opportunity is missed by many because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. Everything I just told you is work. Sorry if I got the person wrong, but you know, that quote always rings with me, because you have to do what everybody else is unwilling to do. If your whole office is sitting around making calls or waiting for the phone to ring, go out there and do everything opposite of what they're doing. Go the extra mile, and you will become wildly successful as a realtor, wildly successful as an investor, and you'll build relationships that will never, ever, ever stop paying you dividends.
Love it. Love it. Specifically with the newsletter, is that a mailed newsletter or email?
Mm-hmm. No, listen, how many emails do you delete a day? Email's
More
dead.
than I could
It's
count.
like, email's great if you're talking to people in your office, or great if you're dealing with your existing clients. But you know what the lost art is? How many things do you get in the mail that are handwritten, personally enveloped to you? Not many. You get a lot of junk mail, like postcards and, you know, things. And I don't even look at them, folks. I throw them in the garbage can. But when you get that letter, right? That letter that's handwritten in blue ink, and you can tell someone wrote it, and it says urgent or says thank you somewhere on it. You open every one. Do you know why? Because when you were a kid, every time you got a letter like that, guess what it had in it? Cash or a check. So you open them all. The art of direct mail has died. Not many people are doing it anymore. That's why when you get your mail, there's not much mail in there anymore, because everybody's emailing because it's cheaper. Don't be cheap. Cheap doesn't pay. Send the mail. Spend the 50 or 60 cents or $1 or $2 to mail it out. The newsletter costs like $2 per mailing. You know what? It's a cost of business, and that cost of business justifies itself probably 10x.
I love it. Great idea. Especially with the whole, like, making it personable. You know, I speak to so many realtors, and even in my own experience, the posts on social media that get the most comments and likes and just impressions are the personal ones, the ones
Mhm.
that you sort of let your guard down and, let people into your, you know, outside of business and just like your family. So that's a really good idea. I don't think too many people, or not enough people, are doing enough of that.
Yeah, I mean, even like, another thing that we do a lot of, I mean, I have my own books like this one, but I'll mail out books. I'll just go on Amazon and I'll just send a book. And when you do that on Amazon, you can put a little letter in there, like a little
Yeah.
typed up letter. Just thinking of you, thought you might like this book, from Michael, or I don't know, whatever they
Yeah.
trying to always say his name. Profit First is the book. I almost tried to say his name and it's like impossible, but mail a good book that you've read and then put like a little saying in there, I just read this book. I really thought of you. That
Love
little
it.
thing goes a long way for people.
Love it. There's so many just actionable, like amazing golden nuggets in this episode so far. Um, so let's talk about like your business, the Money School, is it called?
Yeah. And the money multiplier. Yeah. Kind of one
Yeah.
and the same. Mhm.
Yeah. So just tell us about that. Like, what do you do
So
there?
yeah, so money school is really focused around money, okay? How money really works. The things that they don't teach you. Now, what we're taught about money is a big lie. I was a financial advisor for 16 years. Everything I taught, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, is not what the wealthy do with money. Maybe stocks they do, but not much. The wealthy do things different with money than the average person does. And if you don't believe that, peel the onion a few times. So money school really teaches a couple things. Number one, teaches what do you do with your TFSAs? What do you do with your FSAs? What do you do with your 401ks, 403bs? We teach people how to use them, how to leverage them, not how to invest the money in them. That's boring. But how do you use that money to go make more money? How do you take your existing assets that you have and make them work twice as hard? How do you use the equity in your house without creating debt to go then buy more real estate or lend money to other real estate investors? That's money school. And we teach people how to be really good borrowers and really good lenders. So if you're somebody that has money that wants to make more money, we teach you all the ways to mimic what a bank does and how to be the bank. If you're somebody that needs money to make more money, like an investor, we teach you how to find money without having to ask for money, how to actually be a magnet for money by solving other people's problems. It's way easier than you think, especially in these times. Money Multiplier, we teach one thing and one thing only, and that is a 200-year-old wealth secret. And it's something created by the Rockefellers. It's been used for hundreds of years by the wealthiest families, and it is called privatized banking. It works here in the States. It works up there in Canada. We do business both in Canada and the US. And it's literally a banking system that allows you to have immediate and complete access and control to your money, to earn a roughly, in the States, I'm going to talk because in Canada it's a little different, a 4% guaranteed return on your money. And it gives you the ability to earn uninterrupted compound interest on your money, even when you're still using your money. A lot of people, when I say that, they think that sounds too good to be true. In other words, if you had money in an account and then you took all that money out, but you still earned interest on the money like you never took it out, that's what I'm talking about. It's called, well, Albert Einstein calls it the eighth wonder of the world, uninterrupted compound interest. Those that understand it, earn it. Those that don't, pay it. That's what we teach. We teach people how to be the bank through this old school, boring, privatized banking systems. And we help thousands of people throughout the US, and we have relationships in Canada, even right in St. Catharines and Toronto, that we refer a ton of business for our Canadian clients.
That's amazing. How long have you been running both of those programs?
Money School since about 2014. Money Multiplier has been going on since about 2008, 2009, give or take.
Amazing. Is there like a minimum requirement for like an investor
No,
who wants to?
not really. I mean, it can be any dollar amount someone wants. If someone says, what is the minimum amount I can deposit into my privatized banking? I always just tell people, use this guideline. Take your age. So I'm 43 years old. Multiply that times 10. That's 430. My minimum for creating a banking system would be 430 per month deposited. So that's just an easy baseline. And the maximum, because of COVID right now, is $1 million per year, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's, I've never hit that. Don't say that. If you say you'll never hit $1 million, you never will. But if you say, oh, you know what? I bet you next year I could be at that $1 million. That'll suck if that's all they allow. Thoughts are things, folks. Like if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich or any of those books, or, you have to start reading books about that, because it is a law of the universe. It's not even like something people say, it's a law. And if you think you're not going to ever have $1 million to deposit, then you won't. But if you think you will, and you think about it every day, you will have $1 million to deposit. So I didn't mean to go down there, but that's an important thing because I meet a lot of realtors that limit what they're doing because they don't think they can do more. You can
So
do
true.
anything you want.
Yeah. So, your biggest, anyone's biggest limitation is in their own head, I think. So,
100%. That's the only
um,
limitation.
that's a fact. So the show, HGTV, what was it? Risky Builders. Is that still airing right now?
It is not. No, we aired
No.
6 times. Discovery bought HGTV and we didn't go on, which back then was a huge hit. I mean, it was kind of like, it felt like the world was collapsing on us. But you know what? It was the greatest thing that ever happened because when that stopped, because that took all of our time doing the show, when that stopped, it allowed and opened the door for me to really focus solely and exclusively on what I do now with, Money School and Money Multiplier.
Yeah, no, okay, perfect. Last thing I wanted to ask you, just given your experience of like so many, like just ups and downs, just a roller coaster of almost going bankrupt and losing everything after you sell off some assets and then just climbing back up. Um, business obviously cyclical. Like we're in every market of realtors, especially I've been speaking to, like everyone, the market's really hot right now, everywhere it seems like.
In the
But
whole
things are
world.
cyclical. So, they go up, they're going to come down. And we've been riding a high tide for, over a decade, I'd say, especially here in Toronto. And a lot of realtors, they haven't experienced like a true recession or true downturn in the market. So what's your advice? Like what can you share to other realtors who haven't maybe experienced that? And, um, you know, yeah, just like, let's go there. Like, what would you share?
A lot. So you got to remember I come from the advisory world, from the Wall Street world. So the one thing I'll tell you is, looking at real estate is a lagging indicator to the overall markets. So when I say the markets, I mean the stock markets. Now they're different in the US and Canada, but if you look at the stock markets where they're at right now, it's been 12 years since the last bust, right? The last recession, which was 2008. And normally in markets, they work in a very rhythmic, predictable pattern of 7 to 10 years. So if 10 years is the normal long cycle and we're in the 12th year, lots, in the States has to do with politics and, the government and the president. But if we're in the 12th year and we saw the ugly monster show its teeth in March as to what could happen, but now all of a sudden now we're back and everybody thinks that this magic ride isn't going to end. Folks, we are living in a magic trick right now. This isn't real. This is all speculation. It is something that literally, if you believe that this is going to keep going up like it has, you are going to be in for one of the biggest thumps on your head that you've ever seen in your life. And I don't know how to really tell you. I mean, it's a mindset thing. The first thing I will explain to you is I will say the markets are going to crash. I don't say go down. I say crash. And I know that for a fact because I know how to read the markets. I don't care if it's US or the Canada, it's going to be the same. And when they crash, the real estate market is going to follow it down. Now, it's going to be about 6 months from that point, 6 to 9 months, because real estate lags. And real estate's got a lot of steam on it right now because low interest rates, high demand because of COVID created this huge kind of bottleneck of all these people that wanted to buy. But all I can tell you is make hay now. Keep pushing now. But the other thing you're going to really need to understand is when this all does deflate, when the balloon pops, Toronto has been so due for a correction. I don't even know if it'll ever happen. You guys are like in this little, I don't even know what to call
Sure.
you guys up there in Toronto. It's the weirdest market, I think, in the world. But everywhere else outside of Toronto, I think you all need to be prepared for a decline. And the other thing is don't fear that. Don't be afraid of a decline. Don't be afraid in real estate values going down. Look at it as the biggest opportunity of your life, but it can't be an opportunity if you're not ready for it. And getting ready for that means you need to understand what happened back in 2008, 9, 10, and 11. Who made millions of dollars back then? How did they do it? And what did they do? Mimic that now because it's coming, folks, and you're running out of time to get prepared. Second thing, if you're in the markets right now, cash is king. Get your money out of the markets. Warren Buffett said, buy low, sell high, and don't lose money. You can't not lose money without following 1 and 2. You've already bought low, take your gains off the table, park it on the sidelines, and just wait. And when this whole thing tumbles down, I don't care whether you buy back into stocks, I don't care if you buy real estate, you will become a multi-millionaire in a very short period of time. But if you ignore this, put your head in the sand, and you just don't think this is going to happen, you will never recover from what you will miss out on.
I love
I
that.
didn't mean to put it rough like that, but hey, there's no other
Hey,
way to put it. The truth hurts.
that's the reality for sure. That's amazing. Chris, I do want to be mindful of your time here as much as I'd love to continue. I do end off each chat with what I call the top three, some heavy
Okay.
hitters. You ready?
Uh-oh.
So, number one, and feel free to self-promote. I know you showed us a book, but your favorite real estate or business book?
Oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Show us that book again. Was that your own book that you?
Yeah, I've got two books. So this one's real estate focused, The Private Money Guide. And then
Okay.
this is the one about the banking systems, mapping out the millionaire mystery. Yep. So these
Okay,
are the
nice.
two books that I offer. Matter of fact, if your audience wants them, I'll give them the books for free. They just got to pay the shipping.
Amazing. That's awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Number two, your favorite vacation spot. I know you
Thailand.
can't travel much now, but
Wow, that's all right. I've traveled all my life, but Thailand for sure. Koh Phi Phi Island.
okay, very good. And lastly, if you can go back, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you're just starting out in business?
Oh my God, it's easy. I wish I knew how powerful giving was. If I only knew back then the power of just giving more, focusing on other people's needs, giving and helping other people succeed and get what they want, I would be so much more successful than I am today. But you know what? I always knew that, but I never applied that. And when I started applying it, it changed my life.
That's a good one. I like that. Chris, thank you so much. I really can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. There's so much value here that you provided that a ton of people are going to benefit from. There's no question about that. So, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, do you want me to give the website where they can get the free
Yes.
book?
Sorry. Yeah.
That's
If
okay.
someone wanted to, I'll put it in the show notes as well, but
Okay.
yeah, where can we,
It's
find
easy.
you?
Just go to Chris Naugle. It's naugle.com/resources. All my books are there and they're all free. I give everything away for free and all the training videos. So check it out and you'll like what you learn.
Love it. Perfect. All right, Chris, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. We should do
My
it again
pleasure.
sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
All right. Take care.